Hola amigos! Magnus did nothing wrong, and this Warhammer episode from Secret Level is one of my favorites, mostly because of its art direction. So today we are gonna dissect this short film and I'll show you the huge role that Keyframes played in this project, one of the core elements behind the episode's visual style, why it looks so cinematic, what exact components form the visual language of this demonic realm, and of course we'll pay some respect to the artist. Without any BS, let's dive in, bro. Our first topic is Alexey Andreev. Alexey is the art director at Secret Level, and it turned out he is the one who painted a massive amount of keyframes for 3 of my favorite LoveDeathRobots and Secret Level episodes, but favorite only after Jibara. You know, Alexey, it is Mielgo sexy babes, I can't fight it. So let me just show you direct comparison. On the left, keyframes painted by Alexey, on the right, corresponding shots from the actual episode. And you can literally see that the guy basically painted the entire episode. Of course, the compositions and color grading may be different here and there. It is not supposed to be exactly the same, but as you can see, the core shots, the mood, the atmosphere, overall color palette, he defined the whole thing. And in some cases, his keyframes actually look better than final result. For example, in this keyframe we're able to see some actual architecture, and here it looks a little bit in the middle of nowhere. Here we have more interesting lighting on architecture. In this cultist keyframe we have more lighting, and in final episode it's just absolutely black silhouettes. Here we have much more interesting ground details. This shot just looks much better at keyframe phase, and final shot looks kinda empty and 3D. And also this slime substance VFX is more interesting on keyframe. It looks like he played crucial role for why this episode looks so good, and probably why those 3 episodes are my favorite visually. So overall, yeah, massive respect to Alexey. Our next topic is warm cool color contrasts. In my opinion, one of the most powerful technique in whole art visual toolkit is warm cool contrasts. Without a lot of explanation and useless words, just look at this. Here's our shot with complementary cool and warm colors, and this is how it would look without it. Or maybe so. As you can see, it immediately becomes pretty ordinary and boring. Same works for this desert shot with these greenish lights. Even though this desert is yellowish warm itself, without support of this orange highlight it would look pretty dirty and unpleasant. And even though intro can look pretty monochromatic, in fact there's also warm cool contrasts. Same for this shot, just look how important this green cold color. And same for this, if we paint everything in warm, it immediately start to look very boring. Of course, same works for our demon fragment. Whole color palette, only warm, only cold. Even this shot, even though you think it's pretty warm, in fact, without these cold lights, it would look pretty awful. Immediately whole magic disappears. Same for this one, of course. And even here, these pinky rockets work as warm compared to this, and this how boring it would look without this contrast. Even in shots like this, maybe you can't tell, but I feel his face artificially pushed to be more red and warm. And I feel that less talented artists would make it like this. I guess now it's crystal clear that warm cool contrast makes every shot better. Without it, the visuals would be way more ordinary, straightforward and forgettable. Our next topic is cinematic realistic look. Being entirely CGI, this episode achieves very great cinematic and realistic look, and I found several specific techniques how. First, obviously, the episode is very dark. So most of the 3D looking stuff and animations are hidden in shadows, with only selective textured light doing the realistic job. Second, characters are intentionally hidden, because making clean, visible, realistic CGI faces is still almost impossible. Characters stay in deep shadows, only occasionally lit by flashes. Character faces are pretty dirty, it is easier to make than clean skin. Often characters shown in these high quality extreme close-ups, which are way easier to make than full faces with animations. Cultists are also in deep shadows, all their faces are hidden with masks, and they either shown as silhouettes or in fast blurry motion. And even these monsters or this dude mostly stay in darkness. And in fact, the only truly CGI looking shots are these ones, where full human faces are visible. Third, materials, lighting and reflections are handled very well. Armor looks pretty good in all situations, plus everything is rusty, scratched and dirty, which naturally helps to hide 3D feel. Fourth, there's dense volumetric throughout the whole episode. This thick layer of dusty, foggy air helps to cover up little CGI imperfections and adds realistic depth layers. For example, in this shot where volumetric is weaker on this character, boom, it immediately looks more CGI. By the way, if you don't know what volumetric is, you need to visit my Romulus video. Number 5. Volumetric lighting also allows for heavy light diffusion. That makes lighting more realistic and let it hide stuff behind thick, lighted air layer. Number 6. We have very heavy film grain. It also allows to eat away this plastic 3D sharpness and add cinematic feel. Number 7. Throughout the whole episode we have strong lens flares. It immediately adds a lot of cinematic vibe in every shot where it's applied. Number 8. There's a pretty aggressive vignette across the whole episode. Number 9. I don't know anything about color grading and compositing, but I know something smart and cinematographic is happening here. For example, shadow seems to be tinted with cold greenish tones. Overall mid-tone seems to be eaten by shadows. In a lot of shots highlights are artificially suppressed and clipped, and even white spots in fact are pretty dark. And highlights are never white. They are always colorized and have some interesting hues in them. For example, these red tones in blue highlights. And number 10, of course, overall compositions are cinematic, camera movements are grounded and realistic. Even in moments like this, it never turns into that CGI drawn camera nonsense. Colors are restrained. Even some extreme colors like these or these, in fact, look more grounded and realistic than, I don't know, John Wick. So yes, pretty decent pack of principles and tools applied in this episode. And I think these tools and principles are mostly universal. You can use them and everything you do will be more cinematic. Alright, and we moving on to Demon Fragment. I absolutely love how this demon fear realm is made. Probably it might be the best example of this abstract magic impressionist cinematography I can recall right now. Maybe only G. Barro's style hits me harder. So let's dissect this segment and actually understand what it's made of. First thing just to mention is sound design. I don't know shit about sound, but obviously during these demon moments a lot of interesting things are happening in terms of sound.
Choose a child.
So I have nothing to say, probably it does like 70% of creating right atmosphere for this scene. Next thing is this dolly zoom. We see that camera physically pulling in while the lens zooms out. This how it looks if we only pulling in, this how it looks if we only decreasing lens, and this how combination looks like. And of course we need to shake our camera, so it looks like this. So yep, it looks almost the same, only without this final pull-in the end. Our next point is very strong depth of field. As you can see, everything is unfocused except of key element. And this how it would look with our xenomorph. Oink. Rapid depth of field change here. You can see how beautifully focus shifts from one guy to another. Same with this knife, from knife to guy to knuckle to knife. Then we have animated blurry spots. As you can see, some parts of the screen become blurry or unblurred, and it's not depending on depth of field. Same in this shot, these blurry spots jumps from his shoulder to his face. Of course we have visible chromatic aberration everywhere, like these colorful edges here and there. This demon fragment can seem to be very monochromatic and purple, but in fact you can just see I'm picking colors and there are a lot of different hues. Also this color variety works good with depth of field. You can see how these different colors become blurry colorful spots. We have some rapid camera movements. Here we have rapid pull in, like camera physically moving closer to them. Here we have rapid zoom, camera stays in same position. Here we have rapid pan left. And here we have some rapid... Also we have this stop motion animation. As you can see, it just appears in one frame without additional animations. Same here, like this dude model just changes in one frame without additional animations. In this fragment we have 6 different shots happening in 1 second. Prepare to actual speed now. And of course all the time we have this slime substance VFX. It nicely generates objects in the scene, it adds a lot of compositional movement in the screen, it works nicely with this color variety, it works nice with depth of field, it adds parallax, and also we have this nice blurry distortion, liquefy, whatever. So yeah, that's what I was able to notice with my level of knowledge, but I'm pretty sure as I don't know anything about compositing, I'm missing a lot of stuff. And in fact, it looks easier than I supposed. I guess actually these VFX simulations are the most expensive stuff in this scene. Everything else looks pretty doable, but of course it's all about how it's directed and assembled together. That's not easy, of course. Next topic is art overall. You know, often the best artist work is invisible one. If you can't notice something, it means it was done perfectly. And this episode, you can't really notice some animation or VFX or sound or design or render, but in reality it is thousands hours of effort. So let me point to some of my favorite things. First thing I wanna mention, Astartes feel very heavy. It is very difficult to animate proper weight, and here it's done perfectly. And also just listen to heavy sound design of their actions. Also I wanna mention Space Marine's design. You know, as Warhammer originally started as wargame, oftentimes we see that Astartes design inherited these cartoony, toy, kid proportions. Even though already for 1000 years we have these beautiful illustrations with nice proportions from rulebooks, still somehow we're able to see stuff like this coming. Like, just tell me bro, what it is? I don't know, maybe it's mobile game or for kids? If it's done for kids, it's absolutely perfect. Like, yes, very nice mobile game for kids. And in this short film, design very great. And they feels both absolutely realistic and yet maintaining this Warhammer fat, big, clunky visual. Also I wanna mention this old man, like in some shots I can't tell whether it's CGI or not. For example, in this shot I guess only his beard shows it is CGI. Maybe it is the best CGI face I've ever seen. I absolutely love everything about this demon, his animations, his behavior, his design. Like, in my opinion, they truly made iconic character. Like, I can't forget impression from this monster. He's so unique and characteristic. Especially these 3 shots with him, in my opinion, it is just piece of art. Also throughout the episode we have tons of VFXs and simulations, like explosions, shots, sparks, magic hands, magic explosions, just a lot of stuff. But most of all, I love everything about smoke. Like, look how smoke here helps to convey indestructible feeling from their shields, or how dust trails in this environment really create this lonely and dangerous atmosphere. Or look how mist drags after this explosion. And of course smoke helps to convey like mystical and otherworldly nature of this demon. You know, probably all VFX artists who now watching this just punching their screen and shouting like, "This bastard loves the easiest thing, smoke simulations we've done for couple days, while we spent 5 years making, I don't know, rain droplets on his face. Ha, Houdini losers. I am dust and smoke enjoyer." And also, you know, I don't know anything about editing or pace or creating rhythm in the scene, but recently I decided to watch Furiosa. And to be honest, I survived only for 20 minutes, because this movie has the most horrible editing and pacing and compositions and camera movements I've ever seen. Like, guys, I'm not joking, every single second, every single shot, it was painful for me to watch. Every single shot feels wrong. If first Mad Max movie feels stylish, this feels absolutely disgusting. And with this new fresh perspective, I was able to revisit Warhammer and I was able to notice how perfect and complex every single cut in this short film. Like every single shot has almost perfect length and movement in the frame. In fact, in whole episode I have only one single cut that feels kinda awkward for me, is this one, when he slices Demon. Like specifically these couple frames when he just slices him. It feels a little bit wrong, but yeah, editing and compositions and moving in the frame feels almost perfect in this short film. These are some sweetest moments from this episode for me. Shout out to all pros who spent hundreds hours and dozens of iterations making all this stuff. So that's it guys, let's summarize what we've learned analyzing this episode art direction. We were able to see a huge role that art direction and keyframes played in this short film visual. We discovered how warm, cool color contrast make every single scene more remarkable and pleasant for the eyes. We extracted specific tools and principles that this episode is using to achieve cinematic look. We dissected this demon fragment to extract specific tools that can allow to achieve this impressionist, dreamy type of visual. And I've shared with you some of my most favorite artistic decisions applied to this episode. Hope you like this stuff, subscribe to my free Telegram and Discord channel, pay me money and I will make video like this about your favorite movie or series or whatever. Bro, actually please check my videos about Avatar and request something like this, where I will be sitting like and will analyze it shot by shot. Like, this is the best. So alright everybody, wait for next video about story of this episode. And I guess about our direction of Jibaro. Or maybe bad traveling. Alright, bye bye bro.